From the marbled halls of power to the hardscrabble streets of America, I've been reporting all now. There's a weird hold on, I'm getting an echo on here. I don't know why that's happening. Hang tight, guys. Hey, Ian, are you getting that? All right, hold on. Hang tight, guys. Fuck it. Um, I don't know why that's happening, but we're gonna go. The news is important, and I do enjoy hearing the sound of my own voice, but I'd rather do the news with you. Today on the show, the bullshit countdown, our top 7 stories to pay attention to in this disaster of a moment in American history, delivered to you short, sweet, snarky, smarmy, and clear so you can watch this and then get about your day. Remember that you can sign in, check out 24site.news, sign up for the email, make sure to get it every day, and head on over here every day at noon on 24 Site News on YouTube and on Substack. Make sure to tune in live, and then you can catch us at 8 p.m. Eastern Time every day on Political Voices Network. If you are with us live today, make sure to drop in your comments, thoughts, notes, what have you, and we'll get that coming in for Ian. Will gather those up, and we'll get to those. Today, we're doing top 7 stories you're already paying attention to. The most important 7 stories that we are seeing right here. I call it the bullshit countdown because, frankly, so much of this is just absolutely complete and utter bullshit. And that's my job as a reporter to understand that. And it's why I'm doing this here to help you. So, number one, let's go to the government shutdown, where things stand right now on this. Best I can tell you is it's a bunch of grown adults who appear to be our leaders in this country bickering, shit posting memes, and snapping at each other. Now, there will be a vote in the Senate today to potentially pass what they call a clean budget bill, quote unquote stopgap budget bill. We're going to hear about that. We'll see about that a little bit later from Julie Grace Brusky. She'll be writing about that after it happens. We'll be taking a look at is there any movement there by Democrats? Do they actually bend on this? Do they reopen the government? More on that later today. But for now, we have the President of the United States making artificial intelligence memes of Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. Strangely enough, uh, this is not, um, remove this from the stage. Hang tight, guys. Yeah. This is not what a normal White House would do. Clearly, it's what the President of the United States is doing when he's not making fun of the top Democratic leaders in the House, in the Senate. And our top Democratic leaders are sad, disappointed, worried that they're not getting calls to discuss anything right now. Now, if you're a Democrat and if you're a member of the Democratic base, I can hear your I can hear your frustration, even though I don't have my AirPods in right now. I can hear you screaming through the laptop, screaming through the YouTube, okay, because it seems to not recognize the moment that we're in. Let's hear from a speaker, speaker. Well, no, there's a Freudian slip. Potential future House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, assuming that things go as they look in the 2026 midterms. He is, as of now, just by a few votes shy of the House. He is the House Minority Leader, the top Democrat.
Schumer and myself haven't gotten a single phone call as it relates to a follow-up conversation. We're ready to have that conversation, but we need credible partners on the other side of the aisle.
It Hakeem Jeffries there, sad, disappointed because he's not getting any phone calls from the White House, from Republicans. Now, here's what I expect to happen, and here's what I think will be going on. This House of Representatives, okay, um, when they come back into town. So let's move on to number number 2 or number 6 on our list of, the bullshit countdown. Since there is a shutdown since there is a shutdown, one of the things, that, the government did before shutting down was remove a statue which had popped up in Washington, DC. It's popped up in Washington featuring Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein skipping around holding hands. I'm sure you've seen this. Now since there is a shutdown now, as of just a few days ago, the artist and activist who made this, piece of art, a masterpiece really, have reassembled it and placed it out in front of the United States Capitol. It is back. It is back. You know what's also back? Uh, this Riyadh Comedy Festival, all right, with top comedians out in Saudi Arabia making fun of the United States. Okay, thanks. There we go. Remove that from the stage. Um, let's get there we go. The Riyadh Comedy Festival. This is how fucked up things are right now. Folks, if you're just joining us, remember we're going through today, we're no guests, just myself and the news. We are doing the bullshit countdown as the top 7 stories that you need to pay attention to, but not too much. Just enough to get you into the weekend where you can unplug and reset, then come back fresh next week. Right? That's what we like to do around here. So how topsy-turvy, how fucked up is everything right now? We have our best comedians heading over to Saudi Arabia, get paid lots of money for the first Saudi Arabia comedy festival, where they're making fun of us back here in the States for not having free speech. Now, a reminder that in Saudi Arabia, there are nothing close to the freedoms that we enjoy here in the United States. Not least of which is the Saudi Arabian royalty having a American journalist murdered and chopped to pieces 7 years ago, Jamal Khashoggi. That is a thing that happened. That was not discussed when all of our top talent flied overseas and headed to the Riyadh Comedy Festival, all right? You can always joke with us here at 24 Site News. Tom LoBianco reports. Nobody's gonna get chopped up. You don't have to go to Saudi Arabia to do that. You got questions or comments, anything, you'd like to discuss, drop in the Substack live or YouTube. Ian will get to those. Okay, next up, now this is important. Next up, we have Venezuelan quote unquote drug boats. Now, why are we talking about Venezuelan drug boats? All right. What why number 1, what purpose could that possibly have? There's a deeper purpose here. If you listen to the White House talking about this and the way they are referring to this, talking about an alleged war, and trying to spark a war with Venezuela, this gets into the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, which allows for the use of military force to repel, quote, "enemies within." If you listen to all the language that has been used this week. Now, I would note only Congress can declare war. This is important. The President of the United States cannot declare war. There has to be an authorization of use of military force for it to actually be a war. Now, have there been a lot of military strikes over the past decades? Have there been plenty of troops on the ground all over the country? Have there been plenty of drones in the air? American ballistics out there attacking, defending, you name it. Yes, absolutely. But only Congress can declare war. So, is this a war? No, it's not. But you can see why the White House is instigating this right now and why they're instigating Venezuela right now in particular. Remember, go back to all of the immigration raids, the ICE raids, that have been going on for months and months and months now, and ever more violent, ever more secretive. And recall that this began with allegedly targeting Venezuelan gang members, Tren de Agua, allegedly. That has not been the case throughout all this, but allegedly. Reminder, if you're just joining us, we're doing the countdown of the top 7 stories. Top 7 bullshit stories before we hit the weekend. I'm Tom Lobianco. This is Tom Lobianco Reports. If you have comments, questions, anything you'd like to see us get to, drop them in the chat, Substack Live, also YouTube Live here, right here at noon. You can also email me always at tom24site.news. Before we get to the middle of the list, uh, I want to pull up this. You know, let's bring this to the stage. Here we go. Let's watch the video. Remove. Add to stage. Okay. Watch this, guys.
Says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher said she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? And I told them no, I didn't.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks and military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
Again, that's ABC 7 out of Chicago with that important report on what's happening in the streets. In the streets. Remember, we started the week with the President of the United States Defense Secretary really behaving buffoonishly in front of all the military brass, but also saying how they are approaching what is happening now in the United States. Their belief that there are, quote, enemies within. Well, we just saw the federal government attacking so-called enemies within. This happening live time in Chicago. A lot of folks have seen the bicyclist, the DoorDash delivery driver fleeing the scene uh, after mocking some ICE agents up there, and a lot of people cheered for that. What has not been getting as much play have been these violent raids on people of all stripes, all colors, uh, any citizenship status here. Uh, but that's been going on for months and months and months. It is continuing right now. We're keeping a close eye on it, and this is happening all over the country as we go. It's easy to see why the United States does not happen. Um, Before we get to our third item, again, reminder we're doing our top seven the bullshit countdown. Before we head into the weekend here, want to make sure that everybody's able to unplug happily. I'm Tom Lobianco. This is Tom Lobianco Reports. If you are with us live at noon here on Substack and YouTube, you can drop in your comments. We'll get to them. Ian Walters is on the board. You can also reach out to Tom at 24site.news. If you have anybody you'd like to see come on the show, drop us a note. If you have anything you'd like us to cover, you can reach out there too. Big thanks again. We had Christine Matthews on the show yesterday. That was a blast. I'll tell you, it was hilarious. And we learned a lot about who are the important swing voters who are going to determine whether the Democrats retake the House in 2026. Right. And if you haven't already, make sure to head on over to 24site.news, check out our YouTube page, catch that show. Chris Matthews is one of the best pollsters in the country, and she has her finger on the pulse. This is why we have to pay attention to health influencers. But for more, you gotta go check out yesterday's show in case you missed it. Um, okay, now we have a report of voting fraud. Report of voting fraud. That we go to Slate News. Let me bring this up. Slate News. MAGA's top voter fraud watchdog votes in a swing state. He doesn't live there. Byline Jacqueline Sweet and Marissa Cavas. You might recall Cavas was doing some incredible reporting at the beginning of this second term and continues to do very excellent reporting. She was doing a lot of great scoops on Doge at the top of this administration, and here she is doing some incredible muckraking again. Jack Posobiec votes in one state and lives in another. Somebody call up 4chan and the QAnon army. We've got a live one. Oh no, are you kidding me? I gotta go to. All right, let me tell you guys. Here's the long and short of this one. Let's see if we can get it. Yes, I'm hopping the paywall. The hell with it. Let's do it. Here we go. Thanks, Slate. Thanks, Archive.is. Jack Posobiec is very concerned about voter fraud. An influential MAGA voice and prominent conspiracy theorist, he's perhaps best known for amplifying the 2016 Pizzagate conspiracy, which culminated in a man firing a gun in a DC pizza restaurant. In the years since, Posobiec has loudly espoused a range of debunked conspiracy theories that include the GOP theory, once semi-fringe, now completely MAGA mainstream, that Democrats have won elections via millions of fraudulent votes. I would note, as somebody who has been covering this since those false allegations first started being pushed relentlessly by the then President of the United States and again President of the United States, no evidence exists of that alleged millions of fraudulent votes. However, there is voter fraud in this country, as we see here. 40-year-old Posobiec has voted in Pennsylvania elections from 2004 to 2024, both in person and by mail, according to a copy of his voting record reviewed by Slate and the Handbasket. Until 2016, Posobiec used military and civilian overseas ballots after resigning from his job as a Navy Reserve intelligence officer in 2017. He remained in Maryland while becoming a full-time influencer and political activist, such as Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. He continued voting in Pennsylvania via absentee ballots and later in-person on-demand mail voting using his parents' home address in 2022 and 2024, according to an official copy of his voter information file from Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, obtained through to know request. Guys, we have found the voter fraud. The call is coming from inside the house. It's Jack Posobiec. This guy. You see him on CNN all the time now. Of course, that's the voter fraud. Why do they know so much about the voter fraud? Well, now we know because they're doing it. Jack Posobiec, incredibly influential in MAGA world, has really grown up part of this. I would note that many years ago when I was working in Indiana covering the state, we had an example of voter fraud. One example of voter fraud from the former Secretary of State of Indiana. All right. It's not the people being rounded up by ICE, whether immigrants or citizens. It's Jack Posobiec. Okay. Before we get to number 2 on our list of the top 7 bullshit countdown, before we head into the weekend, reminder, find us here live every day at noon on YouTube and Substack. Catch us 8 p.m. on Political Voices Network. We are watching right now, and you can also make sure to get in touch, Tom at 24site.news. If you have a question, comments, and you're with us live, you can drop them in the Substack live chat or YouTube live, and Ian will pick those up and shoot them on over. Before we get to number 2 on the list of top bullshit stories that we are covering right now, let's take a little look as I read up on. We are awaiting right now the sentencing of Sean Puff Daddy Diddy Combs on sex trafficking charges. Sentencing hearing today for Diddy before Lower Manhattan's Daniel Patrick Moynihan United States Courthouse just ended a short break right now with the defense beginning their presentation. Yet Judge Aaron Subramanian has already indicated where he thinks this could all end up. With the potential Donald Trump pardon still in the background, the Joe Biden appointed judge informed the courtroom Friday that he was pretty much in line with sentencing guidelines from the probation office that would see Combs behind bars for more than 6 years. It is important to emphasize, as the judge did on Friday, no final decision has been made. Okay, so guys, we are watching for what happens with Puff Daddy. No decision has been made yet as of 12:26 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, that will be changing very soon. If you're watching us on the replay of Political Voices Network at 8 p.m., well, we should all know by then. But as of now, nothing yet. Okay. The judge did Friday. No decision had been made. However, even as the U.S. Attorney's Office for Southern District of New York and the Mark Agnafilo and Tenny Garagos led defense have arguments to make before the bench, it now seems any final sentence will be in the 70 to 87 months range, which with a fine of around $200,000. I have no idea how many bottles of baby oil you can get for $200,000. I don't know. I'm getting a thumbs up from Ian. Ian is actually showing, now you can't see this on screen, all right, and it's probably good. Ian has a fucking jug. of baby oil. I've seen it. All right. It's got the little pump on it. All right. I don't even want to tell you what goes on down there. All right. And it's probably good. Okay. you you don't want anybody slipping up in this. All right. I can tell you this though. Oh man, $200,000. Man could have a pretty good time. But not too good a time. You don't want to end up in the Daniel Patrick Moynihan courthouse. All right, guys. Number one on our list. And again, if you're just joining us, I'm Tom LoBianco. This is Tom LoBianco Reports. This is the bullshit countdown. Before we head into the weekend, I do this for my sanity and for yours. This is so we can all live normal lives. Let the president lose his mind. Clearly, something's happening over there. I don't know why it's perpetual shit posting. I don't know why there's a need to deploy a apparently secret Gestapo across the streets of America, breaking in to homes, smashing windows. But it's happening, and we are dealing with it. Helps to have a little bit of levity. It might, I mean, if you're Sean Diddy Combs, might also help to have some baby oil. If I should note too, if you have questions and comments, drop them in. If you're with us live on Substack and YouTube, drop them in. We'll pick those up. If you got baby oil stories, I don't want to hear about them. Okay. Ian might. I love Ian. Okay. And I pass no judgments. Okay. I don't want to hear about that. Okay. I want to hear about your baby oil stories. Nor, as we noted in yesterday's show, do we want to hear about Nazi porn fetishes. All right. And sadly, we have to deal with that because that is a big story in the Virginia elections with the lieutenant governor candidate down there, John Reed, apparently being a big Nazi porn aficionado. For the life of me, I don't know what the hell that is. And I'm not about to find out. If you guys know what that is, and if you can write it without putting any pictures, if you just tell me in like one sentence, I'd love to hear about it. I don't want to see it. Okay. All right. Before we get to number one, here we go. Who's Zoran Mamdani? Who is this guy? All right, remember we started off the top of the show earlier after some technical difficulties and some weird echoes. And I have no idea why that was going on. We started off the top of the show with Democrats floundering. Hakeem Jeffries just being really concerned. Now, I would know, and I've talked about this before, about the Democratic Tea Party energy. And that does not mean that Democrats all of a sudden want to end the Fed or that they want, a border wall or that they want the complete elimination of taxes. No, it has nothing to do with the policy and agendas of the conservative Tea Party of 16 years ago. No, this is just about energy. This is just about fire and passion. And to understand why so many Democrats, and part of the reason that we are in a shutdown right now, do you understand why so much of the Democratic base is so angry at a pair of New York Democrats, namely Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries? It's important to hear from the ascendant New York Democrat, the person who could very easily be the next mayor of New York City. Let's hear from Zoran Mamdani.
Eric Adams, we know, met privately with Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, earlier this month, is our understanding. And that one of the topics was possible opportunities in the Trump administration, one of which possibly could be ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Why do you think Adams dropped out now? We are essentially 1 month from Election Day.
I have to be honest with you, I think it's a fool's errand to try and understand what Eric Adams does and why he does it. What I think is clear, though, is whether we're speaking about Adams or we're speaking about Cuomo, we're speaking about supposed leaders who are willing to put their own personal ambition before the needs of the people they're supposed to serve. New Yorkers are right now under attack from an authoritarian administration in Washington. Donald Trump has ushered through legislation that will throw them off their health care, take SNAP benefits away from them, all in service of the largest wealth transfer this country has seen. And instead of fighting back against that vision, instead of fighting for New Yorkers, these politicians are looking to get on the phone with Donald Trump to see what it is that they could broker together.
This is important. If you want to understand where the ascendant left is in this country and the rising opposition, not the old opposition, remember that this Zoran Mamdani is channeling that energy right now. That's why he is so incredibly popular in the city. Now, that does not mean he is popular everywhere else. It doesn't mean that he is a Democratic candidate who would win in Virginia or New Jersey for that matter. Something that I talked about with at the beginning of the week with Democratic Party Vice Chair Shasti Conrad was about just this. Now, Shasti Conrad is a longtime progressive leader and now top member of the Democratic Party. They're doing it. Some of you old heads out there might recall the Howard Dean 50 state approach from 20 years ago. Well, what they're doing is that, and that's how you end up with having local leaders, state leaders deciding what is right for their state, what is right for their locality. That's how you have folks like Mamdani and Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, both leading in their respective races, even though they sound completely opposite. Okay. But to understand, again, to understand the rage right now of the left and the base on the left, you have to listen to the difference between Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and Zoran Mamdani right there. All right, guys, heading out for the weekend. I want to thank you so much for being here. Always. Yeah, I can't do this without you. And I love doing this. It is my passion. It is my absolute privilege to do this every day. Your support makes this possible. If you got a little extra to spare, maybe you decide that you don't want that pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks, which now costs $7 or $8. Head on over to 24site.news and get a paid subscription for $5 a month. That goes to keep the lights on over here. It keeps me working so that I can cut through the bullshit for all of us. I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Beth Solomon, from the author of From Fire to Fabulous. Beth is a huge supporter of independent journalism. Very happy to have her help. She wrote a book about a year ago, and I suspect that she could not have foreseen this. None of us could have foreseen how relevant it would become, unfortunately, in the moment that we are in right now in this country. She wrote a book about what to do after you get fired. How do you pick yourself back up? This is very relevant, especially here in the DMV, where I'm based out of, the district, Maryland, and Virginia, the Washington, D.C. suburbs. Super relevant because of all the federal firings that already happened by the Trump White House, the elimination of complete agencies illegally. Lots of illegal, unconstitutional firings, some of which have stood, others have been successfully fought, but you have to go on with your life and you have to pick yourself back up. Beth Solomon wrote this book, From Fire to Fabulous. It's incredible. It's a very handy guide on what to do, whether you want to get back into a regular, more normal, traditional career track, or whether you want to be like me, go out on your own and start your own thing. Check out From Fire to Fabulous by Beth Solomon. All right. Also, want to say a big thanks to Manoj Paulson at projectmanagemymove.com. Manoj is an old friend, and he is also another entrepreneur, started up Project Manage My Move. Now, this is interesting. If you're a regular listener here, regular viewer, talk about this routinely. uh, these are called distress sales. And in a distress sale in the real estate market, in the home sale world, what that means is that there's been like a death or a divorce, something else, really tragic has happened, and you got to deal with that in your life, and you got to put the house up on the market. Sometimes fast. Sometimes they want you to put the house up fast. Well, if you go too fast, you're not going to get the full value of the house. All right, you got a lot going on. So this is where Manoj comes in. Manoj is the logistics guy. Manoj will coordinate with all the basic contractors to make sure that basic work and maybe even a little bit extra work, that's dependent on you. All right, that's wherever your head is at on this. Get the place looking nice before you put it up on the market and potentially get tens of thousands of dollars more than you would have gotten otherwise. Now, Manoj handles all that while you're dealing with everything going on in your life. Manoj will make sure all the contractors, he coordinates everything. At Project Manage My Move to make sure that they show up and get the place looking good and you get the full amount that you deserve for your home. All right. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week. Got some great programming. We're going to be hearing from an ice cream person. What does an ice cream person have for us? Lots of other great stories. I hope you all take some time, put down your phones. I'm going to be, after I unplug here, I am putting down my phone. All right. This is a hard unplug. We all need to keep our energy up. All right. This is a marathon. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you on Monday.